Welcome to the Half in the Bag Disc Golf Podcast, streaming to you as part of the Joe's Disc Golf Podcast Network. And here are your hosts, Ben, Joe, and RJ.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to Half in the Bag, the Disc Golf Podcast. Here where three of us buddies get together, grab a few drinks, and talk disc golf. And today's episode is going to be a lot about tournament coverage. So if you have not watched your post-production, probably watch that first before listening to us, and then come flip right back over for our dumbass results and reviews here. But
wait, do I need to watch my Jomez before I talk about this?
But starting off here, my name is Ben. I'll remember that this week, and I am currently not having a drink today because I am in recovery mode from a 3-day volleyball tournament bender here where we did not win the pitcher race, but came in a solid third place. Not
Give
having
it the
played
good old college try.
Not having actually played volleyball on day 2. That was just from day 1 and day 3 taking third place. So we're recovering still from the day. I'm not going to say that I'm not having a little bit of buzz going on, but I'm not actively drinking.
My name is RJ, and today I will not be having a glass of wine. Instead, I will be having a nice classic Bud Light.
Nice. And I'm Joe, and I'm drinking my own tears after looking at my Skip Ace League and crying a lot every time I look at it.
Us three experts, only 2 of us took last place in our weekly league.
Yep. And I don't
Hang on, are those scores official yet?
Not yet.
Not quite, but I'm still taking bets of I finished higher than you did.
I think my wife finished higher than I did, and
yeah.
Everybody finished higher than I did. I got last.
Colby Anderson, I know it was not a good tournament, buddy, but I thank you personally for not having a good tournament.
And Jackie Chen, buddy, what you doing?
Jackie and Kona got me.
Oh, it was so
Kona
bad.
missing the cut killed me.
It was so bad. I just...
Well,
yes,
let's get down to it. Do we want to talk about the men's side here or the women's side here first?
Oh, let's go ladies first.
All right,
Sounds
let's
good.
go ladies first. What was your general impression of watching the ladies? I watched some live, some post-production, and I honestly missed the final round due to my volleyball tournament, but I kind of watched the scores as they went. What were your guys' thoughts?
Well, I was able to watch probably 90% of the live coverage of the women's, and it was exciting. It was a ton of fun. I was rooting for my predictions, and I was close on some of them. But I'm glad I didn't take Henna. Henna had a rough round 2, if I remember correctly.
2 and 3.
Round 2 and 3.
Well,
round
1.
Round 1, she was up there. Round 1, let me just kind of search results here. Yeah. After round 1, she would have been in...
Let's see.
She was in 20th. Great. She was in 20th after round 1, but 7 strokes off the pace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which 7 strokes, I mean, when you're looking at Katrina on page for those 7, isn't that bad. She was 5 strokes off of Kristen in 5th position. So, not great in 20th, but not bad by any means.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Very good play. Hope Brown. She is someone to look out for. The commentators were calling her the female Eagle McMahon. And
she was long, she was lanky, and she could rip on a disc. There was no doubt about that.
Was not knowing when to tap the brakes is what really did her in. Speaking from a guy,
none of us have.
None of us know how to do that.
Especially Joe.
Me, it is. I'm running everything.
I've never seen you lay up a putt in your life.
I've started doing that in tournaments now, and you know what? It's worked. It's
no more snowmans on the snow court.
Hey, that one snowman was my first tournament ever.
Yeah.
So
it was a hole that you just had pride take over because you were not going to lay up after your 3rd attempt putting.
Well, and then the problem was a couple times I tried to lay up and I caught the root and it just caught edge and rolled. And I'm just like, please stop. Please.
That's
Yeah.
always the worst, is when you try and lay up and you end up in so much worse of a position than you ever could have if you had just gone for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, there's one
Ah.
hole on a huge hill at PFW that if I am outside of 20, I lay up. Because the hill is so massive and it's so steep that even if you catch edge, or even if you, like, I don't know, try to run it, it's hole 5.
Oh, the heavy dog leg left.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's in A position.
The one where we were playing a tournament and you couldn't find your disc, and I look up by the basket and it's like 2
Parked.
feet off the pin, and I'm just like, "Hey Joe, yeah,
Everybody
look up
called
here,
me an
Ian."
asshole, but I've never put the disc there on my first throw. And it was the
our
dark
entire
purple.
card called you an asshole."
It was the dark purple one too. My
Oh,
justice.
It was.
They're so pretty, but they're so hard to find.
Dark purple in the woods on that dark gray brownish mud, like damn near impossible. And it was the silver side, the silver stamp was face down.
Oh, of course.
So
Yeah.
that is not in my bag anymore.
Yeah.
Thank
The one thing I
goodness.
will say of the women's side, though, when you look at your top 5, I think that's a top 5 we can get used to seeing at the top of the card.
Yeah.
I mean, Katrina, Paige, Haley King, Evelina, and then you got
Kristen.
Missy Gannon sitting at 7. Oh yeah, I missed Kristen in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like that's a top 5-6 people I think we're going to see more of the first half of this year.
Yeah, and then I think you're going to see people kind of popping in like Holland Hanley. She looked
Yeah.
good out there. I hadn't really heard of her. The commentator said that in the off season she's a power lifter.
Huh.
And there were a
Interesting.
couple times where I was like, I don't think I see it. And then she squatted down to pick up a disc and her quads are just like, whoa, all muscle. I was like, oh yeah, she's a power lifter.
Yeah.
She kicked my ass.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
there's
I
some
mean-
other names. I mean, Jen Allen was right in there. Kat Mertz
Yep.
was right in there. Rebecca
Yep.
Cox was right in there.
Yep, those were all in the top 11. Jessica Weiss finished in 13th. Lisa
Yep.
Fakis, we talked a little bit beforehand about, she just kind of had an okay tournament.
Yep.
She finished 16th.
Sarah
Erin
Hokum
Scoggins,
was a surprise being down at 21st.
The one thing I
Mhm.
say out of Sarah Holcomb, though, she threw that backhand far more than I was expecting.
Well, all 3 courses are not forehand friendly at all, even with someone who has a turnover forehand.
Yeah,
like
but I'm
Sarah.
just saying, still, I was expecting that to be about as rare as the Eagle forehand this weekend.
Yeah.
And she
Which-
actually busted out a handful of times
Yep.
each round.
which apparently Eagle can throw up to about 250 on his forehand, is what I was hearing on Jomez.
Okay.
That wouldn't
That
surprise
he
me. I
feels
mean,
comfortable
to
about
tone it
250,
down-
which for me is a full send with my forehand.
Yeah,
Well,
for him it's
or
a
with my
putter
backhand.
flick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'll tell you, just watching the Jomez coverage, this is probably the second tournament that I've actually sat down, watched, paid attention to. Just watching the Jomez coverage of the lead card was really fun and exciting. And I'm like,
Yeah.
man,
Yep.
I feel like what they are doing is not that complicated. And I know that if I tried to do any of it, I would
It'd be
easily
awful.
take a 10 on any one of the holes.
Yep.
Any one of them.
I do want to play that. I think it's on the. What course did they play today? Was that the factory store?
No, it was the Innova course.
The
Or-
Innova course? Okay.
Yeah.
I want to play that island hole. That 220 downhill over water.
No. I don't
I'm
play
blanking.
islands.
You
Oh,
have,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
that building
Sorry.
to the left.
Yep.
That looks
I know
like
what you're talking
fun.
about.
Nope,
That
I don't
looks
play
like a bunch
islands.
of lost putters to me is what that looks like.
I'm taking a harp out there and just.
I'm taking a harp and I'm probably misplaying my angle and I'm either in the drink or skipping OB. I don't see me hitting. But I will say
I
am
never
ace
said I
running
would
that
do
thing.
well on the hole. I said
I'm
I
saying
wanted to play the hole.
I can promise you I'm ace running that one every time though because that's the only way
Yeah.
my disc is going to stop is if it hits the basket.
Yep.
So this is is this the peninsula hole or is this a true island?
It's a peninsula, but it's an island because there's a out of bounds backdrop on it.
Yep.
It's not the Dogleg Left Peninsula that you're thinking.
Okay.
It's a couple
basically
holes later
straight
where
ahead.
It's a short little 220. Doesn't look like there's anything to it, but it's a small landing zone.
Yep.
I was gonna say, if it's the Dogleg Left one, you know what I would do? I would just, pull out my putter like I was on 6 at the what was that first one? The Infinite course?
I think so.
The 3 Island, are you talking?
Yes, the 3 Islander.
Pitch it forward.
Yep. I would just keep doing it and hope that I get there in less than 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can say that this course is one where I would just be banking on trying to shoot par. Seeing the negative 30, even out of the girls, is nuts. I'd be shooting for maybe 2-3 under and be happy with that on a 3-day tournament.
Yep.
For a 3-day tournament, I would try not to break 100 over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, since we brought up her name last week, Sammy the Tutu, significant improvement from last year.
Yes.
What did we say last year? Plus 110 or something like that?
Let me click on her name.
Plus 70 this year. So, Sammy,
Way to go.
rooting for you.
Way to go. Also,
she shot 122 strokes last year.
122, so 150-point improvement.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
That's crazy.
So in 2 years, she is going to be winning this thing.
At this rate,
you heard it here first.
That's
you heard it
solid,
here first.
That's impressive.
For real, though. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Katrina Allen shooting a 53 on that first round. I mean, that's an entire round of disc golf off the scorecard.
Yeah. Yep.
So that was fun to look at, just because we brought it up last week.
Yeah.
So let's talk about who was the biggest surprise for you on the women's side.
Well, go ahead, Joe.
I'd say I have 2. One, Hannah not making the cut.
Mm-hmm.
That surprised me a lot. She didn't miss it by much. She missed it by, I think she missed it by like a stroke.
She was in that position. So the next person above her was 3 strokes better. Or no, sorry.
Yeah, no,
they
you gotta go
up at plus 3. I'd have to do math.
Same.
Yeah, because the person ended up, I think it was a plus 3 was the cut, and she was a plus 5, if I recall.
The way that the course stats, the way that the stats are on UDisc is just absolutely throwing me off.
I'm looking at PDGA.
I'm looking at I'm looking at PDGA, but the thing was the girl that finished ahead of her was plus 8, but that's because she shot over par today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I recall, it was a plus 3 to get in. And she was
it was
plus
right
5.
around 3 or 4.
Yeah, so it was a stroke or 2, but still, her and Deanne Carey, Henna and Deanne Carey missing the cut were 2 kind of surprising ones.
Par is 69.
Par 69, so 2,
Nice.
so you had been plus 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that was one of them. And then I mentioned her a couple times already. Holland Handley. I don't feel like we talked about her ever before or never really knew her name.
Not a name that I'm familiar with, honestly.
I vaguely remember, because I listened to It's Not Under Stable Minds anymore. Or no, it is Under Stable Minds.
Under Stable Minds,
I'm thinking of Disc Golf Answer Man, which is still going on, but not...
Something different.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she was crushing it. I mean, she ended up 17th, but for a while there, she was way up there. I mean, she shot a 63 on day 1, 68.
Didn't she say Holland Handley?
Am I looking Holland Handley?
Holland Handley was a 59 on day 1.
Sorry, I have last year's pulled up from looking up Sammy the Tutu.
Oh, okay.
That's why I was like, hang on a second, that doesn't sound right.
I mean, just
Holland
with saying that, though, that's a
the
4-stroke better difference than last year. I mean, 4 strokes in a tournament is a lot.
And they changed the layout of all these courses to make them slightly tougher.
Yeah.
So she shot
that
better
4 is really like
on
a
a
6.
harder. Yeah. She shot better. So that's someone I think, just like Hope Brown, I think these are some people you're going to have to. I think Hope is going to be another year or two. I think she needs to learn to calm down at certain points because she was running everything.
Just because you can't go all out doesn't mean you should.
Yes.
Was Hope Brown the one that was the junior champion from a few years ago, or like maybe even a multi-time junior champion?
That wouldn't surprise me with her arm strength.
I would not be surprised. Field. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she played very well. I mean, what's going to be nice about Holland Hanley is, when we're looking at our weekly tournament, we need to find 20 points. She's, 30 points behind 30 points behind Katrina, 50 points behind Paige. If you're looking for some extra kind of bang for your buck in that weekly league, she might be a name that we can kind of feel safe going to, because she didn't just have a couple good holes here and there that made her look good. She played, I thought, pretty solid the whole way through.
Yep. Yeah. She, in 2016, won Junior Worlds. She took 4th in Junior Boys doubles. So, let's see.
What?
Does it say who her partner was?
It didn't. She won 2017 Junior Worlds.
Okay, so she has...
That would actually be a hell of a team.
What's that?
I said Gannon Burr.
Yeah.
She took,
especially with his putting and her throwing. That's a good combo.
3rd at Worlds in 2018.
Okay, so a couple top finishes, couple wins.
Yeah.
Then she took 1st at Worlds that next year in 2019.
I'm glad to see her on the Pro Tour then. Like, she's got potential for sure.
Oh, yeah.
2020,
where did she end up finishing?
2020, she went pro.
Did she not make the cut?
No, she did not make the cut.
No, 34th.
No. Because
34th.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, here's something to make you feel worse.
But that was that final round is what did her in.
In 2019, she won the U15 Junior Worlds Championship. So she's 17-ish now? 18?
So essentially, she's literally the female version of Gannon Burr.
Yeah, she's about Gannon's age.
Yeah.
Maybe a year older.
Yeah, and I'm looking at her final scorecard, and it was rough.
That last day was rough.
She tried to run everything.
3, 4 double bogeys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bogeys. 3 pars.
Yeah, she hopped on the struggle bus.
But before those two, solid finishes.
Oh, yeah.
It was just that final day that hurt.
Yeah, well, on that final day, you said that she finished 34th?
34th overall, yeah. So she was...
So, yeah, on day 3, she dropped 24 spots. So she was sitting in the top 10 going into...
Is that what it was?
To day 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then missed the cut on day 4. So we talked a little bit about surprises. This is going to sound stupid, but honestly, my surprise was Kat. I did not see her coming out and kind of putting it to the field the way that she did. I mean, she was either leader or co-leader every single day.
Yep.
She won.
She was dominant. Like, she just looked good the whole way.
Those DGA discs must agree with her, because holy cow, she is good.
Yeah.
And she looked really good this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, if that's the way that she's going to be throwing all year, I think a big storyline heading into this weekend was the Europeans versus Paige Pierce. It might be the Europeans versus Paige Pierce and Katrina Allen.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Katrina Allen might not be playing second fiddle to many people there.
No. And here's one of the fun things that
scary.
Katrina said during her interview after winning. She didn't get her DGA discs until January 3rd or 4th, is what she said.
There's nothing broken in.
I mean, holy crap. Like, how do you get a disc broken in? Do you just go out to do field work and for 10 minutes you take your driver and whack it at a tree? Like, just throw full force drives?
You call that field work. I call that a normal round.
Well, yes.
That's what I'm thinking.
But that's the difference between a pro and us.
Yeah.
Is field work for them is actually getting better. Field work for us is seasoning a disc, quote unquote.
Yeah, that's what we call it.
So
Every time I hit a tree, I'm like, I meant to do that.
Yes.
Unless it was baseline plastic, and then I'm just going, ooh, that means I got to spend $10 on a new disc now.
yeah. So I will say I have one other surprise, and
You're
this
pregnant.
one. Yes. How did you know? Actually, along those lines, my other surprise was Natalie Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know a whole lot about her going into this tournament.
I knew nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it was she was one of those surprises that came out throwing really hot. Really sorry to see about the injury.
Yep.
But I'm hoping that she gets better soon and we can see her back on the course because she was playing. Yeah.
She was playing really well round one, and up until she was starting to get hurt, she was looking pretty good in round two. She wasn't on the same pace.
Yep.
No.
But still, like, she was up there.
Yeah, and I do wonder how much of the fact that, yes, there are technical aspects to these courses, but overall, Las Vegas Challenge is not a technical tournament. I think that's fair to say.
Compared to other courses, for sure.
Yeah.
Right. I do wonder how much of that benefited her in this tournament. But
I mean, it benefited everybody.
Right. I think that she's a name to keep an eye on, to see what she does, kind of see if she gets a little bit of a breakout year here. Do I expect her to go up and be a consistent top 5 finisher with the Europeans and Kat and Haley and Paige and et cetera, et cetera? No.
I don't know.
But to see her on a card here and there would be fun.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Might be a good pickup, every now and then on Skip Ace again. A little bit of a bargain there. Just something to keep an eye on. Definite surprise for me. Thought that,
just take care of that hamstring. Those can nag and nag and nag.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you got to take a tournament or two off, that's one of those injuries to take a tournament or two off, because if you don't give those time to heal, they will hang around.
Yes.
So I think for me, the surprise, I know we kind of talked about her as kind of our dark horse, but Rebecca Cox played really well. I mean, she was right up there in the top 10 leaderboard up until that final day. It felt like that whole time. Like, she just had a good couple rounds. She really showed that. I mean, is she in that top 5, top 6 tier? No. But is she in that next 10 chase card? She made a good argument to kind of be in that chase card to that group. I thought that was really, really impressive.
And her
And
putting.
on the opposite side of that is Kona Panis.
Oof.
I don't know if it was just the off-season hype, but missing that cut kind of felt like it hurt. She just kind of looked off this whole weekend.
Especially when
I'm hoping that comes back.
When you have people, no disrespect to anybody else, but they're not getting the paycheck. Holland Hanley, Rebecca Cox, who else is on the team that beat her? DD or Trilogy. I mean, Kona did not look good.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of other...
No, it's rough. And now part of it is she is trying to learn a new putting style, to give her some credit that direction.
Yes.
It's the first tournament. Some days I'm trying to think, was her first round. Her first round was, it was 10 strokes off Katrina in the first round.
But
I know day 2 and day 3, the wind was rough.
Yeah.
So maybe it was trying to get, she's learning a new bag. You're getting some discs that are loaned to you, so maybe they're beat in. You're not quite used to them to kind of give her some of those aspects. But I'm really hoping to see a big turnaround from her in the next couple tournaments, because I really had some high hopes for her, and I hope it wasn't just off-season hype, because I really liked watching her last year. I kind of liked watching her calm, collected atmosphere out there. I would love to see her kind of get back up there, but that was a big surprise. But, a kudos to Rebecca Cox for sure on my end. I thought she was really fun to watch. She was one that I kind of heard about in years past, kind of following the Trilogy brand, that she never really panned out. And the way she's been playing the end of last season, the start of this season, she might really be coming into her own in that FPO field.
Yeah, I will say it seemed like Kona was kind of all over the place. Struggling to get pars, whether that was either it seemed like it was, sometimes it was pars, sometimes it was bogeys, sometimes it was birdies, sometimes it was double bogeys, sometimes it was eagles.
Sometimes it was just triples.
Right.
She got a couple triples on that last round.
Yeah, I mean, there were between hole 1, 8, and 12 on her last round, she went 9 over on 3 holes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's tough. That's real tough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that I would do better. I don't think there's any world in which that's the case. But it seemed like she was just kind of all over the place. I'm like you said, Ben, I'm really hoping that's just getting used to a new bag, getting used to, I mean, it seemed like everyone other than Katrina that switched bags kind of, had a little bit of an adjustment period this week. Katrina kind of being the exception. But, I'm really hoping that there are bigger things in store for Kona this upcoming year than fighting to make cuts.
Yeah, that's true. And I loved, I thought DGN actually did a really good job on the women's card of bouncing around and kind of showing some of those, showing Hope Brown, showing Natalie Ryan day one. I thought they did a really good job of actually bouncing around and giving a pretty fair coverage to what very easily could have been follow that lead card all day kind of coverage.
And that's kind of what it used to be. What's helped them is they've separated the streams and the tee times more between the FPO and MPO coverage.
Yep.
That's really helped, and I think that's going to be huge.
Yeah.
And I just looked it up. There are, not including Kristen Tatar, 6 other Trilogy team players that beat Kona.
Okay.
I don't count Kristen Tatar because they have the same contract.
Okay.
That's the only reason.
Ahead of her?
Yeah.
That finished ahead of her.
Ahead of her.
Paid ahead of her.
Right. So we said Rebecca Cox.
Hang on, I got to go through and you got Erica Stunchcombe from Westside. You've got Raven Klein from DD.
Okay.
Sorry, I got to look through everything. Sarah Gilpin with DD.
Okay.
I have to look at everybody's name unless it's obvious, like Owen is Innova.
I honestly don't remember offhand.
Yeah. Anyway.
Aria Castruda with Latitude. Rebecca Cox.
Yeah.
Holland Hanley.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Then it's Kristen Tatar.
That sounded like it.
Yeah. Then it's Kristen Tatar, who, like I said, their contracts are the same, so theoretically, financially, they should be in the ballpark.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, like you said, new bag, first tournament, still working on that putting.
Mm-hmm.
She needs to talk to whoever Rebecca Cox talked to.
Yeah.
They're the putting whisperer.
Yeah. And I know they're good friends, so, Rebecca picked it up. They need to start working together a little bit more on that end.
Yeah. I mean, the hard part is still, like, Rebecca had all off season and all of last year, and I don't know. She's been with Latitude forever.
Latitude for a handful of years now.
Yeah. So she knows her putters.
Yeah.
And, Kona was probably throwing them back in November, December, but still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was fun to see overall kind of the good swings. I mean, you're always going to get names that you have no idea who they are kind of pop up there. For me, that was kind of like the Natalie Ryan, where she was kind of making a big push where I really hadn't heard her name too much in the past, if I have. So it's always kind of fun to see. But I got to say, that was about as clean cut as what you were kind of expecting top 6, top 7 is.
It was nice.
I think that's going to be a group of names that we're going to see, but it was fun because it was a tight battle.
Oh, yeah.
It really was.
What was the final spread between all those girls? It wasn't much.
No,
Evelina and Missy were 16 and 19. Katrina was 30. So, I mean, it's 10, 11 strokes. But,
Paige was 1 off the leader. Kristen was
like
5.
Kristen was
for
5.
Evelina's sake, it was a rough finish with a 66 on the final day.
She just could not. Watching her, it was just like she was off by a little bit. It looked
She seemed like she couldn't settle on a style of putt. There'd be
Yes.
times where she's pushing, times where she's, getting a good spin, and she never really decided on one.
rounds
think
2 and
when she's-
3, she looked good.
Good.
It seemed
But-
like round 1 was a little bit rocky for her too, from what
It
I
was.
saw
Yeah.
of the
It
live
was.
But only 3 points off pace. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you could just see it the way she was approaching her putts and all that stuff. She was not confident round 1, and this looked a lot like round 1. I don't know what happened. I mean, she took a bogey to start, but so did Kristen.
mhm.
So, and she bounced right back with a birdie.
Yeah.
I will
just-
say that
the next 3 or 4 weeks is
Yeah.
going to be a lot of fun with those.
it's going to be
with
so
that
much
group.
fun.
I
And it's going
definitely.
to be good. And it's going to be good for
Yeah.
what is a GK Pro with them.
Yeah, I think
I
GK's got.
think. I don't know
Yeah,
what their
that
ratings
sounds
are, or how many views they're getting. But if that's the kind of lead cards they're covering this year,
They're going to
their
get
views
a
are
lot.
going to go up. Because
they're
I
gonna-
honestly was having more fun watching them than I
Yep.
was the boys, because it was the battle on that card. It's fun to have chase cards that are in the fight,
Yes.
but when the fight's all on one camera, it's also a lot of fun to watch.
Oh yeah, and you can't. I mean, they tried to set it up the best they could, day 1,
Mm-hmm.
but day 2 was better.
Day 2, day 3 were fun cards to watch, and then Haley King kind of making that comeback.
Yes.
Kind of making it like, hey, don't forget about me. I'm right here too.
Yeah,
that
she
was-
shot 5 down. It was a solid round.
That was a fun group of girls to watch for sure.
Yep.
So, Ben, you mentioned the guys there. Do we want to go ahead and get into talking about
Yeah.
them and their?
Yeah, and
I
they're,
they're
think
you know,
we
wild
can all
finish.
say the surprise is probably pretty similar for all 3 of us here.
I've never
Well,
heard of this Gananbuher. I might be saying that right.
I'm gonna go ahead and just take the L on this one, because somebody on this podcast drafted him in our weekly league, or in our year-long league, and I was the only person that had a choice on who I wanted to put on the bench, and I kicked the crap out of this one. I benched him. I said, I want to see him do it in a tournament first, with the new pace of play rules, and oh boy, that was dumb. That was
Yeah, you
dumb.
missed out on a lot of points there.
No, I ended up taking a lot of points there.
I suppose because
Well,
that
yeah.
one's going to be it's a golf score league on that one.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. I ended up benching him for someone who did not make the cut, and
Yikes.
yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. You guys
Ooh.
are welcome. I went ahead and spotted you that one, and now I suspect that, like Ricky and Chris Dickerson, he will not be leaving my lineup unless he's not playing a tournament.
Yes.
Because holy cow, I didn't realize how young he was until I was watching the
Yeah.
Jomez
I
production.
knew he was younger. I did not realize 16.
yeah, his
like,
mom is caddying for him.
when they were making jokes about how some of those guys were already in the clubhouse having a beer. Well, not Gannon, because he's not old enough. I'm like, oh, okay, so he's like 20 or whatever.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking like 18, 19.
Yeah.
Maybe
You know.
20, yeah.
No, he's 16.
He's 16. He can
Yeah.
barely drive.
He's got to
Yeah.
go back to classes the rest of this week now.
Yes.
Like,
Like,
that's
how-
nuts. That was fun to see, though. And wow, talk about a guy that just has control of his game.
no kidding.
He was putting it from all over the place. And not only was he putting it, he was putting himself good positions to make those putts.
Yeah.
He did
Well-
not make a ton of errors. That's for sure.
And I saw somebody make a comment on, I think, Twitter that said something about the over-under on Gannon Burr is 12 and a half world championships. And I'm like, okay, that's total hyperbole, because nobody is going to win 12 world championships in this.
Not anymore.
Not with the competition
Anymore.
the way it is.
Not with the competition. Not when you can have Drew Gibson, who's, 20 points off the ratings lead, go out and seemingly kind of dominate a tournament like he did.
Yep.
God, the
Um,
scores at the end of this tournament, though, these final day scores were just nuts out of some of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's so. I would be willing to bet a not unsubstantial amount of money that Gannon Buhr will be a world champion at some point.
I
probably
could
multiple times.
Absolutely see that. I mean, Gibson said it in his post-game interview. He is the future of disc golf.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, you look at juniors, and there's been some names thrown around there the last few years, but that was a dominant performance out of a 16-year-old. Yeah. You get him a little bit older, get his mental game stronger, just get him making smart plays.
Strong. Yeah, the kid was on the lead card the last 3 days of the tournament.
Yeah,
and he was matching stroke for stroke with Chris Dickerson, Eagle McMahon, Drew Gibson, Seppo Paiu.
I mean, stroke for stroke, he was beating those guys.
Yeah.
It's just nuts.
It's wild.
He played so well. So well.
Yeah, absolutely the surprise of the tournament. Like I said, I am not going to be a knucklehead and take him out of my lineup again unless he's not available.
Unless he shows you otherwise. But man, that was good. One of the things I think we all kind of called was Ricky Wysocki playing well, but not quite having that trust. There was a couple times where, a little misplay in the wind, not knowing those discs 100%.
Yep.
You give him 4 or 5 more tournaments, Ricky's right there too. I mean, Ricky's right there. The other one that we kind of mentioned was Eagle McMahon. Again, playing very well, but you can tell that strength is not there. He was playing... I've never seen Eagle lay up for multiple holes. He was
not when it's not in the bag already.
No. I will say, though, he was still throwing his... How high can I possibly throw this Spike Heiser up and over Willow's trees kind of shots? Yes. But you can tell he's not 100%. But, even for that, being on the lead card on the final day, obviously, he put it on for that long. And I think he made a post at one point that he was getting sore or something like that with that elbow or shoulder was kind of starting to bug around day 2, day 3.
Shocking.
I do not understand how on earth people keep going back to it's an elbow when in his original post where he showed the video of him getting injured, he said that it was a shoulder injury. I do not understand.
He had the elbow sleeve on and off throughout the weekend here.
But he's been wearing that for the last
couple
year
years
or so.
Now. Yeah, but it was on and off. I noticed the start of today's round and the end of today's round, he had it on and then he took it off by the end.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
but let's
people
be fair,
are just
when
assuming...
you forehand as much as him, there probably is some elbow issues in there.
I can agree with that,
I wouldn't be surprised if in 20 years he needs Tommy John surgery because his UCL is gone.
Eventually, one of these days, it's going to snap on him with as much power and torque he puts on that.
Hopefully, it's by the time that he's playing MP50 and is no longer the top name in disc golf.
Yeah. Put him at the end of the season, too, so we can do all the off-season surgery stuff. Not have to worry about missing time. But, I mean, he looked pretty darn... For being as injured and kind of missing his entire off-season, I thought he played really well, too. He still played really well.
Again, I think it was on Jomez that one of the commentators said something about if he continues to work on his backhand and he... Excuse me. And he... starts getting more backhand shots in his bag, he is going to be absolutely
tough to beat.
Yeah. He already
I was going to say unbeatable, but
if he needs the disc to go right, he throws a forehand. But now, not only is he throwing the forehand that we know he'll be able to throw in time because he's proven time and time he can, but now he's learning the turnovers. Hell, he's throwing his left-handed shots. Depending on what he needs the disc to do, he has 3 or 4 different ways of going about making that disc work now. And now he's having to fine-tune it, playing some smarter lines. I mean, we kind of joked with the Paul and Simon episode of YouTube where Simon was learning just the smarter lines. Now Eagle's kind of taking a look at some of that. I mean, he can become scary coming out of this injury for sure.
I mean, Paul broke Simon mentally by just how easy it was to not throw over everything. And I think
we'll have to see what happens when he comes back for that first tournament, if he starts playing some smarter lines and that's stuck, or if that was just a one-day realization.
Who knows?
But what are some of the things that stood out for you guys? One for me was Linus Carlson played pretty well. I mean, for kind of coming over, getting in there, he wasn't anything overly special, but he came in and held his own and played very well, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
I'll kind of piggyback on that and say that Seppo was the other one that kind of, do I think that he's going to be a consistent top 10 finisher? No. But I think that he's going to add some depth, add some, a little bit more of a challenge to an already very crowded MPO field.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked to have seen Jackie Chen do better. Both
me too. Trust me.
For personal
me too.
reasons. Yes, I think we've established that Jackie Chen kind of sunk both of our skip ace.
I bought into the hype. I'm not saying he's not good, but
no, he showed moments of looking really good.
Yeah,
he had moments.
This tournament was not his best, but
no,
he's another one that's young.
Yeah,
how old is he? I didn't even see.
I
don't know.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but I mean, I remember on Jomez them referencing him as a kid.
Okay. But that's also coming from like Coling and Sexton, who are, as far as this field is concerned,
seasoned.
getting up there.
Yes.
They could be the dad of a handful of these people out there playing.
Well, especially when you have Gannon coming in at 16 now.
Yes.
But I got to say, one thing that I thought was super fun, I'm not necessarily going to say surprising, because you almost expect it in the final round of the tournament. But the hot rounds from that tournament at the end there. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys shooting a 48, and Drew Gibson, Kelvin Heimberg, Luke Humphreys, Kevin Jones, Thomas Gilbert, just kind of coming out of nowhere to really increase their position. Adam Hammes shot all birdies with like one bogey for his entire round with a 49.
Luke Humphreys.
Nicola Castro shot a 50. Gannon Burr at a 51. Like, holy cow, the finals today were just fun to watch. That was, I had such a blast. I was so happy that I turned on the TV and had a chance to really kind of get in and watch those, because that was a really, really good time to watch those.
Mm-hmm.
And they were bouncing back and forth on the camera. The leaderboard was all over the place because of different tee-off times. It was constantly moving, constantly shaking. That was a fun tournament to watch.
Jackie Chen is 24-ish.
24? Okay, so
not
younger, but compared to when you're looking at like Simon and Eagle, like he's kind of in that age range.
Yeah. So younger, but not, not a baby like someone else that we've already
he's not still in high school.
Yes. Yeah. Hope Brown.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, that was fun. What were some what was your next biggest surprise outside of Gannon Burr? Because I think we can all agree that was the fun one.
Luke Humphreys. I mean, he does all the OTB skin stuff, and I know he's a good disc golfer, but I've never seen him in the top 5 in the tournaments I've watched. I'm not saying he's not good, clearly, because he just got 4th. So, but he's just not someone that I've really seen take off at the big national tour stuff. I'm just kind of looking back here to see if I was wrong. He's generally in like 20 to 40 range. Last year he was 73rd at Vegas. So big jump there, 69 spots. Nice. But I'm not saying he's not bad. He's bad. I'm just saying, like, I haven't seen him on much before. He's got a great personality. I love watching the OTB skins match. Those are fun.
How about you, RJ? What was your surprise on the male side?
Again, going back to what I said for the female side, I don't know if this necessarily counts as a surprise, but Drew Gibson, like, he won.
Yeah.
With a huge second round and obviously a fairly big final round there to come from behind. But just kind of surprised me in that, we talked about him being a player who has all the tools and just needs to put it together. So I guess I shouldn't be surprised that, we saw him put it together. But
right away. Tournament one.
Right. And then the other one that should be a surprise to absolutely nobody, but just was good to see them keep being basically exactly what we'd expect from them, was Calvin.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not a surprise by any means that he finishes third.
The only surprise out of him is he wasn't on the lead card,
The other surprise that I will say, did you guys see his interview after day one?
No.
I did not.
Where he was like, yeah, I was expecting, I'm a little bit disappointed in our field. I was expecting bigger scores and something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but, to hear him speak so candidly, I think is maybe the right word, was a nice little surprise. But, again, not a surprise by any means, but like they said, other than Gannon Burr, my big surprise was Drew Gibson, because we knew that he had all the talent, but to see him really put it together like this was...
the big thing, that's only his second big tournament win. He's only ever won one other big tournament.
What was the other thing he got?
Portland Open. I think in 19.
Yeah.
Which was, they were kind of saying, was also by playoff at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked how Terry Miller asked him, like, what do we expect out of you at Waco? He's like, I'm not going to Waco.
Yeah,
bought a house,
or the next one, or the next one. Yeah.
I'll catch you guys at, I think it was OTB? Or no, Open at Belton.
Okay.
Was it the Belton?
No. I take it back. Jonesboro.
Jonesboro is his next.
Yeah, he won't be back until Jonesboro.
Yeah.
So, I was just like, ooh, that's awkward. But I don't, how do you, as an interviewer, memorize like 15 different people's schedules?
Yeah, you're going to assume they're all there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking to like the Europeans where you're like, so when do you leave? I mean, you're going to be here for the next couple, but...
Yeah. I got to say the biggest surprise on my end, and I hate to put the bottom, but Kale Leveska not finishing in the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one was surprising to me.
Just because he is about as consistent as you get.
Yeah.
Well,
so now I think the next guy on the board is
we're both on the bubble, and it's been literally years since either one of them have finished out of the money.
Yeah.
So that was.
So I think that makes your next active streak Dickerson, if I'm not mistaken. Then, see the next one that has a chance to kind of pass up
Sexton.
That. What's that?
It's still Nate Sexton.
Oh, Sexton is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He just doesn't play as many.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be it. Okay.
As far as number of tournaments, it might be Dickerson, but I just talking about another one that disappointed me a little bit was I was expecting a little bit stronger showing from Ezra.
Yeah.
I mean, he still finishes in the top 15. It's still a really good finish. Seemed like he was a little bit similar to what we kind of said about Kona, just kind of up and down and up, so when went really streaky. But I was, I think we were all expecting really big things from him. Luckily, he did finish inside the top 15. So I kept my Survivor streak
scores,
going.
He had to be the most consistent score-wise.
I was about to just say that.
53, 52, 52.
Yeah.
His rounds may have been up and down, but his final score was consistent.
Just looking at it, it's crazy. He had 2 bogeys in round 3. He had a bogey and a double in round 2. And then, let's see, where was he from round 1? I gotta find his name. He had a double and 3 bogeys round 1. Round 2, none. Played clean. Or round 4, played clean.
So, really quickly, just to contrast that with the winner, Drew Gibson. So Drew had 3 holes where he went bogey or worse on round 1.
Mm-hmm.
He played a clean round 2. He had 1 double bogey on round 3, and then he had a clean round 4 and a clean playoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, holy cow. I mean...
Yeah. Coming in clutch at the end there, too. Like, I honestly thought when he missed on 16, I'm like, oh, that might be it. I don't know if he's going to be able to make that push, because I figured he had the hand up on 17.
Yep.
You know, 18, if he landed in play, was going to put the pressure. And then just that half a hop, that extra foot out of that ball, or out of that disc for
Bunker.
For Gunner, or for Gannon.
Oh, yeah.
Killed it.
Yeah.
That little just extra half a hop in the wood chips.
Yep.
And if he'd have just toned down the speed, maybe played a touch more hyzer, you know, that is talk about a game of centimeters. If he just changes that angle by 1 degree, 2 degrees, maybe takes off a quarter of a mile an hour on his arm speed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, you could say
you get the right gust. It was like a half a hop. It wasn't even moving. It just kind of had that little bit of a skip.
I mean, you could say probably the same thing about Paige. She had 2 times that I can remember where she went OB by half an inch.
Oh, yeah. Barely.
Like,
yeah.
Even her card was like, you're out. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
You could see him like, I don't want to say it because it's half an inch or less, but you're still out.
So really quickly, do you know
Probably not.
what the last hole that Gannon Burr took a bogey on in this tournament was?
It wasn't today.
No, it wasn't today for sure.
I'm going to guess probably early round 3.
Nope. I'm
He
looking
played
it up
clean
right
round
now.
3.
Holy. Wow. That was a long time ago.
I have no idea.
He had 2 bogeys all tournament. Both were in round 1, hole 7 and hole 16.
Yeah.
So he played clean this course with all the OB it has twice?
Yes.
Holy cow. And then the wind on day 3?
Yeah, that's day 3 wind.
Wow. And it's funny because day 1's probably your easiest course and there was no wind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, was one of them the island hole? Was one of them the triple island? Was that hole 5 in round 1?
No, that's hole 6 in round 1.
Hole 6,
no.
okay.
No.
Wow. That is
I could see hole 7.
Play.
I could see him. He had to go long, 358 feet. The basket OB
is that the one
is
with the cart path right behind it?
Yeah, by like right outside circle 1, so probably like 32 feet.
Is
35 feet.
No, 7's not the one where you where it's like right up against the fence, is it?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm just looking at the... No, it just says cart path and beyond. No, I know which one you're talking about because Katrina went
like
OB.
4 or 5, maybe.
Yeah, Katrina went OB on
I think
that
so.
one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is some consistent play.
Either way, that's just ridiculous. Just
Yep.
straight up ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could play a full 18-hole tournament where I only get 2 bogeys.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I wish when we were in Vegas, we played the 2 courses there that are permanent.
Well, one of us was dealing with appendicitis.
Medio. I hope
gotta
he's
say
feeling
some other
better.
names that we mentioned. I mean, Jackie Chen we saw had a rough finish, but kind of around that spot was Scott Stokely, and it was kind of nice. He actually kind of did his own post-game interview all 3 days, and just talked about wanting to get stronger mentally, all this kind of stuff. Talk about a guy that just wants to be positive. He is really a fun person to just watch and listen to. Talk about looking on the bright side. And then coming in with a hot day 3, shooting 1034, 1035 rated rounds, something like that. Coming out. I think he's one where I don't know if he's ever going to have the great finishes. I don't know if he'll ever necessarily be in contention for that top spot. But I think one of the days this season, we're going to see him on a covered card. He's gonna catch a couple hot rounds and just be out there. And I want to see him with a group just all day. I bet you he has got to be a fun guy to play with and be around.
Yeah, that kind of makes me want to play. I was looking through this and I was like, you know who'd be fun to be on a card together with? Zach Melton and Scott Stokely.
Yeah, that would probably... You wouldn't golf much. I feel like you'd just be laughing and joking around the whole freaking time.
I would probably play some of the worst golf of my life, but
I'd
be perfectly... I'd have probably the most fun of my life, at least with disc golf.
So we have a few minutes here. Let's actually dive into that a little bit. If you could play with any other 3 pros, male, female, doesn't matter.
Do we want to stick active? Let's stick actively touring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh god,
who would
now
you
I
guys
gotta
go
look in.
with?
Well, I already named 2 of them.
Yeah.
For the fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know.
Honestly, for me,
I don't know who my third would be.
I think Cooling is a lot of fun. Big Germ.
Mm-hmm.
I think Simon would be a lot of fun to play with. I don't know.
I can't
Those
think
are
of a
two
third.
guys. And I think I would love to just watch Eagle and Simon go at it, even though I wouldn't have a chance to touch that scorecard.
No.
I just feel like it'd be fun to watch those 2 battle it out. And then I think just watching Big Germ and kind of watching the forehand lines that I can't even think of because I can't throw a forehand.
I think watching him throw those forehand lines going, that's what I want to do. That's what I thought I could do. That's what I know I should do. I just can't execute that.
I can't do it, yeah.
I see the line. I see what you're doing. I'm not saying I can execute it, but I can see it.
But if you want to talk about one of your more boring cards, you could put like Gannon Burr, Calvin Heimberg, and Paul Macbeth and just have straight focus the entire round, too.
Oh, that would be... I mean, I'd be excited to watch them.
That'd be one of those cards where I've played with in a tournament where I'm like, I want to talk. I'm a pretty talkative person, but I feel like if I start talking, I'm going to make someone mad, so I'm just going to be quiet in my own little corner.
Wait. Ben, you're a talkative person?
No, I'm very quiet, actually, as far as you guys can tell. Yeah.
Well,
I've had
in that case,
some of those...
can you please demonstrate that over the next 20 minutes so that some of the other people on this podcast can talk?
Some of the cards I've played on, it's been that same where I'm just like, you get there and you just feel the atmosphere and you're like, oh, this is going to be a long round. And it has nothing to do with the course or how I'm going to play.
Yeah. How about you, RJ? Who's your 3?
I don't know. It's... He's part
You're
of
the
me
one that
like,
came up with the question.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I know. Yeah, I posed the question. Why do I have to answer it? This is going to sound like kind of a weird pick.
Okay.
I think I would go with Paige Pierce as one of mine.
Okay.
I do not have a big arm. So while it would be a blast to watch Eagle and Simon and Drew Gibson and those guys just absolutely bomb shots that I could never in my life dream of hitting.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I could hit the 400 and whatever that Paige hit in the distance competition or anything like that, but to see how she approaches the holes, I think would be really, really interesting.
She breaks them down pretty good.
Right. And my other thought was, again, while I was watching Jomez today, I saw that she's on a podcast called Approachable or something like that, where she's she's trying to basically make disc golf more accessible to people. So I think she would be a really interesting person to have on a card.
I think I figured out who my third person is. Yuli.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I think Zach Melton, Scott Stokely, and Yuli. I don't know how long it would take us to get off the tee on hole 1, but it'd be fun.
I'm also going to go with another commentator. I'm actually going to go with Nate Sexton.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'd be fun.
I think that he'd be interesting just listening to some of his commentary this weekend. I'm like, yeah, okay. He seems like he's kind of a fun straight shooter.
When Yuli, Sexton, and Germ are all commentating for Jomez,
that was one legitimately I was kind of tempted to say just because they post all their practice round stuff with Jomez, and it's
so
a blast.
much fun.
But one too the day that I kind of forgot about a little bit, just watching the DGN stuff, Philo. is just a very positive guy. Like, he is just all about good vibes, going out there, having a good time.
He's got a good announcer voice, too.
He really does.
Like, his coverage...
He was fun to listen to.
Just besides the insight and obviously being a phenomenal player. Just listening. Like, he's like a Mike Rowe or Morgan Freeman, where I'm just like, just talk. Just keep talking. I don't care about what. Just start talking. Read the dictionary.
read the phone book.
Well, and let's be fair, that was kind of the last 2 weeks with DGN. That was kind of our big knock, because honestly, their commentary and interviewers kind of sucked. Philo made it really interesting today.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the girls' side, who was it?
Not Haley King.
Holly King or something.
No.
Holly Finn? No.
Elaine
King.
Yes. She's got an award named after her.
I didn't love her commentary, but I thought for the female, she had a really good kind of viewpoint of what she thought some of the girls could be looking at.
Yes.
And I kind of loved how she was just surprised with the distance, surprised with the angles. It's always fun when you're people that like are announcing, like, I didn't even know that was possible. How did they do that kind of stuff? I thought it was a better live coverage than what I was expecting, because when I was trying to watch the live for the All-Star event, I honestly got bored of it.
Yeah.
I was very entertained by the commentary. I thought it was well done, put together. I thought
they got their act
did a
together.
Much better job this weekend compared to 2 weekends ago.
Yep.
I was excited to see that.
They pulled their heads out of their butts and fixed whatever issues it was.
Yeah. I was really excited.
Not being able to properly broadcast on day one.
Yeah, about
Which,
that.
honestly, may have been a little bit of a PR move, because I do not have a PTGA number, so I did not get this tournament for free. But watching it live on day one, I was just like, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. I ended up
by the YouTube stuff you're talking.
Yep.
Yeah, on the YouTube stuff, because I was just like, this is. But then I watched the Jomez stuff, and I'm like, nah, I think I'll just stay with this.
Yeah.
I mean,
the difference
4
is
hours versus an hour and a half at your leisure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because Jomez condenses it down to 2 45-minute videos, give or take.
If that.
And let's be fair, the follow flights, the slow mez, the no mez, all that kind of stuff is cool to get the replays.
Yes.
When you get the replays from DGN, because it's live, you just literally get the exact same camera angle. Everything's the same as I'm saying.
On occasion, they did get the other angle.
Yeah.
But
all of a sudden, you watch a Jomez and they're showing you how it weaved in and out of the stuff. The slow mez, where you can actually see how it barely caught the top bar, caught the top chain, flipped down to the bottom basket. When they slow it down, you can just see that it's kind of fun to get those.
I want
to
to follow
you'll never
flight.
be able to get that live. And
I want to follow flight
fun.
of that Kristen Tatar forehand throw in from 200 feet.
Yeah,
they did. They didn't have a great camera angle on it. It kind of looked like just straight line through the tree. They did do a follow flight with it.
Okay, I missed that one.
Yeah,
but that was a good throw in.
That was that right there is a Kayla shot right there. That's her sweet spot.
Yeah.
I joked, like, you saw this, right? She's like, I could do that. I'm like, yeah, honestly, you probably could. But you'd have missed the 5-footer if it spit out, if that was the case. But you'd have hit that shot.
Exactly.
Oh, man. I think, I don't know. So I still need one more person for my card. I have a couple names floating around, but I don't really know where to go with them.
Nico LaCastro.
He'd be interesting on your card. I mean, he gets excited. He keeps the energy.
He does. He gets very excited. That's
actually not a terrible shout. But no, I was thinking Ricky.
Okay. He seems like fun.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe Ricky or Kona.
Okay.
I thought seemed like she would be interesting.
Joe, you need to add a fifth to yours and add Brody Smith.
I think
he was another one that I thought of.
That was someone I was bouncing around.
Fascinating. The other one would be Ezra. Just to watch him just take a disc and rip it as far as humanly possible.
And I just both in half and on the course.
Yes.
And see,
you know
I
what?
have
That's
to have.
who I'm going to go with is Ezra.
I have to have Yuli on my card because if I have all those other people, I'm going to look like a midget. Stokely's 6'7", Brody's like 6'5". Big Germ, who is the other?
Germ's up there.
He's another like 6'4" kind of guy. Yuli, I think, is average at like 5'10", 5'9", so he's about my height. Like, I need someone there to be like, buddy, you and me, like, short guys. Even though we're not short.
Joe, you're kind of short.
You're
a little bit
short.
I'm not short. No, but when everybody else has got 9 inches on you.
Christ, that card would make me look short, and I'm over 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So
really quickly, this is going to be really boring for the people that have never played in Fort Wayne, but what course here would you want to play your card with them?
Tillman.
I honestly, Tillman, there's just something about the technicality and the fun that you can have while watching that technicality.
And I want to see how they break the course. Like some lines that you just don't see.
That's why I want Simon on my card, because there's lines that look like it should be this. It's a dog leg left. You got to throw it, and it's going to pan out at the end. And all of a sudden you'll get Simon, well, if I go over this tree and around this one, I can probably just drop it in with a spike hyzer, but I got to throw it 500 feet up to go 200 feet forward. Seeing how they approach a course would be fun.
And then we'll have Brian Miller coming out, the guy who designed it, slapping about 500,000 Mandos everywhere.
Yeah, it was designed like that. Because, I mean, that's what it was. I remember one of the first Mandos, I can't remember which hole, but it was you got the long tunnel gap. The alternate tee is where you kind of take away.
17.
17. And I remember I was playing around where a guy just threw a thumber up and over
that's
the
18.
corner.
That's 18.
Nope, 17. 17, because 18 we helped dig out, so it would have been 17. Where it takes a hard left. 18 kind of wiggles.
Oh, I'm thinking of 18 to the right. Yes.
Yes. It's a hard
going
dog
that
leg
way
left.
Breaks it hard.
But there was a guy that went up and over everything, and it's a dumb shot, because if you don't land open, you're not finding your disc.
Oh, not at all.
Like, there's no way. And the guy just played it and parked it, and all of a sudden Brian's like, yeah, we need to put a Mando on that one. Like, that was a great shot, and it was very smart to do in the case of you hitting it, but that's not happening anymore. And it was just good course design for it, too, because the 18's tee is over there, like, if you miss it.
Pace of play. If everybody tries to throw a thumber through there,
you're going to take the 2 minute
in a tournament.
Yeah, you're going to take the 2 minute time to find your disc every time.
And you're not going to find it.
Yeah. And I don't want to go too much into it because I know we're coming tight on time, but the new rules came into play a handful of times. New rules from this year, new rules from last year. It was kind of, it's fun to watch, and they weren't often, but they came up often enough that, like, knowing the rules and staying up to date with it made a difference, because there was a couple OB lines where people are taking different lies. I noticed in today's round, Drew and Eagle both had shots where they fell in casual water and took their relief back 2-3 feet from the casual water. Mm-hmm. The 30-second putting rule obviously came into effect today, because I know for sure, kind of watching again, I was curious, and I kind of counted, and there was times where he was 25, 28 seconds on his putt.
There are a couple times where I thought you could have called Paige on it.
Yeah.
Where she was getting close. I didn't time it, but it was probably right up there at that 25, 26. Mm-hmm. More so on some drives.
Yeah.
And they
kind
were
of waiting for the wind to adjust and stuff like that.
And they were clear. It wasn't that, like, there was that group ahead where, like, they're 350 feet ahead and Paige could definitely hit them,
Yeah. Well, and there was also some stuff I kind of noticed, too, and that may not all be on Paige, because I noticed during the playoffs, they kind of had the mic available, and right before they throw, all of a sudden it's like, and we're live. And then, they'd address the box. So, I mean, maybe some of that was for the sake of cameras and such. There's definitely that potential.
Yeah, waiting for the catch cam to get in full position.
Yep, and I think most of that was for the sake of playoffs, because that wasn't hole by hole. I mean, your cameras were having to run 2-3 holes ahead. Yep. So I think that might have been part of it, but still, that could be something that comes into effect, that we see it take a minute, but maybe it's not actually a minute because there's something else going on.
And they weren't showing down. They weren't always showing down the fairway, so it could have been somebody in the way. Yeah. A spotter running across. And
or hole one today where Eagle had to go chase away a couple birds because, right as he's about to go, birds just come flying right in his line.
Yeah. That's why on hole 14 from Blue at Tillman, I always walk to the edge of the tee pad, look down at the pond, and see if there's a loon down there. Because the one time I didn't, it took off as I threw, scared the crap out of me, and I shanked the drive, and it was a couple months. It was one of your gladiators that went missing.
Okay. That gladiator has been lost and found more than any other disc I've ever seen. That thing has gone to the pro shop like 6 times for you to go find it.
No kidding. And on that one, that wasn't my fault. Like, I was like, so everybody's like, why do you do that? I was like, this one time a bird flew out and I shanked the crap out of it. Really? Yes. But we all just threw. I don't care.
Yeah. But I suppose kind of to wrap things up here, first we got to say a congrats to Josh Wetzel. Unofficially, but he killed it in the weekly this week.
Yeah.
Scoring. I thought I had a pretty good round, and he was well over 100 points ahead of me.
I don't want to talk about it.
Have scores actually been put in from the last round?
I believe so. I think that updates live, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think round 4
It was not
counts.
updating day of before.
Okay, so I might... Ooh, that does that give me hope?
I don't know if round
Does
4
that give
factors
me
into it
hopes?
just because there was a cut.
But why wouldn't it? Because you don't have your winner until...
Yeah, I suppose we're still going to get your 250. But Kayla had 250 for Katrina. But I suppose she was in lead on day 3 also.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe not. But nonetheless, I don't know if anybody's going to catch him with his picks. That was a solid first day. And if somehow you're still listening to the podcast, Joe and I were playing around a little bit. We did adjust the points a little bit so that it wasn't a bargain pick for everything. But then we also added a 3rd FPO slot. So we're going to have 4 boys to pick from, 3 girls. Kind of make us want to follow the girls a little bit more, since I had almost as much fun following their card as I did the boys, if not more so in some situations.
Yeah.
So the number of points allowed may be varying a little bit from week to week as we try to figure out who, kind of where that sweet spot is. But based off of the lineups we were kind of able to create, Joe and I think we have it in a sweet spot for points.
Yeah, right now. Yeah. So the salary cap is 7,025.
But for 7 spots.
Yeah, 4 MPO, 3 FPO.
Yeah.
And you still have to make those same kind of decisions. Do I want to go top heavy and then just pray that Jackie Chen and
Colby Anderson doesn't take next to last?
I will say,
where did
these have
Colby
not
finish?
updated.
Let's click on Joe. Let's go to view picks. Let's click on Colby.
I don't wanna.
And his results are not in currently. You have to look at the tournament. But nonetheless, it was he was near bottom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of near bottom, Nathan Queen not finishing is definitely going to hurt my yearly standing one, because he was shooting well. He was a top 10 finish. And then ended up dropping after round 2.
Yeah, these have not updated because I know that Calvin finished ahead of Ricky and Eagle.
Okay.
But he has less points than Ricky and Eagle, so those have not updated fully yet.
So does that mean Joe and RJ have a chance to hop each other here?
Colby Anderson has finished 107th.
Out of, what was it, 112 or something like that?
Not including the DNFs, 113.
Okay.
With the DNFs, 116. Well, there's a 3-way tie at 116, so.
Yeah, because of did not finish.
Yeah.
All right.
Oof.
Well, I think that brings it to a decent point here for now. We'll have to next week come back and see how our draft went when that updates, see how the weekly goes when that actually updates then.
And then talk about Waco next week.
Start talking about Waco a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll have Waco.
I can't wait.
Waco Annual Charity Open.
Yeah.
Waco at Waco.
This will be a fun one. A totally different course style than Las Vegas. You go from very open to very wooded very quickly.
It's not that wooded. You're thinking Texas States.
Half of it is. Oh, Texas State's more? Okay.
Texas State's is brutal.
It's a more technical course than Vegas for sure.
So should I leave Gannon Burr on my bench?
Yes.
I think that is a good choice.
I think the kid's a scrub and never going to do anything. You should leave him. You should
I
actually
should just
drop
drop
him. I can give you Jackie Chen. You want to trade?
You end up with Jackie Chen?
Did you draft Jackie Chen?
No, I had to drop Matty O because of appendicitis.
Oh,
Wait,
so you actually
Matty O
dropped.
is...
Wait.
Ooh.
Where's
What?
my free agency picks here?
Everything's locked until tomorrow.
Everything's
That's
locked.
Locked until Monday, I think.
Yeah.
So-
Locked for the next 13 hours. So go ahead, set your timer right now,
No
and
shit.
we'll all scramble to try and pick him
yeah.
up real quick.
Yeah, I gotta say, Nathan Queen dropping early compared to just putting Gannon Burr on the bench. Mine was, a
Yes.
better hit to take.
Yeah, you
I
can't.
had no
100%.
control. I had no control over mine.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think I dropped him for Emerson Keith, who missed the cut.
Yeah, he had a
Yep.
rough day. He's gonna
Yeah.
come back and be good eventually, but he had a rough one.
Yes, he did.
So,
Yeah. But he's also low enough on my roster that I may actually drop him to pick up a free agent, especially if Matty O's sitting out there.
Ah, ha, 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 ha.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's wraps it up for today. Did you guys want to do all the handles and YouTube and stuff, or just post that in the description and hope for the best?
Yeah, we'll do that. Don't forget to follow us, Half in the Bag DG on Twitter. Go to halfinthebagdg.com. Working on getting a logo for Half in the Bag so we could get some Half in the Bag merch on the Joe's Disc Golf site, which you could also get your merch there too for Joe's Disc Golf if you really want to. I mean, who knows? One of the hosts may or may not have bought some stuff. The other
I'll
one's just
definitely in
slacking.
the next 2 weeks be drinking out of a Joe's Disc Golf mug.
Yes, I approve. You got joesdiscgolf.com, at Joe's Disc Golf on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can contact me there. I've been putting out summaries of the FPO because with the way my life is, I don't get a chance to watch much of the MPO coverage until after it's out. So not much to talk about there, but I've got plenty of thoughts on the FPO. So go ahead and check those articles out and laugh at my picks and how wrong I was, especially on the MPO side.
Really quickly, on Twitter, go ahead and make sure that you hit us up with your submissions for the Disc of the Week.
Yep.
This week it was one of Ben's discs. It was the Snowflake disc.
Oh, my Marksman League one.
Yep, your deputy, I want to say.
Yes. Yep.
Yep, it was Ben's deputy. Last week it was my wife Jamie's bounty from her first tournament. So go ahead.
I know
and hit
once
us up
Kayla
with
saw
your-
the post, she's been sending you a bunch too.
See, and I would post my
Oh, she
wife's.
meant then I need to. My
I
bad.
would post-
I'll have to send you those.
I would send
Yeah.
you some of the ones from my wife, but she just uses mine, so
she uses your blue discs.
pretty much. Well,
Yeah.
they all used to be mine.
Yes.
And we are going to do something. I know we talked about this. We're going to do a giveaway for the winner of the overall pick. So whoever's in first place at the end of our weekly league, so that will be after the MVP Open at Maple Hill. It will most likely be a disc. Looking into getting a Dymax with our logo. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
And
If
then-
you don't want a disc with our logo, you might want to take a few tournaments off.
Yeah, let me
And
win.
you can definitely sign up late. From everything I recall, we can sign up late.
Oh, yeah.
And let's be
Yes.
fair, you're not that far behind Joe at this point, even if you have a 0 for the week.
Pretty much.
Joe was
I mean-
almost in the negatives.
I mean, you obviously the sooner you sign up, the better your odds are. However,
Yeah.
Just like with the DGPT points, they
Yeah.
do drop the lowest scores. So Joe and I are not totally hopeless right now.
oh, I am, but that has nothing to do with this.
Well, all right. Let's not give the listeners depression here.
I
The
know.
other thing is on Twitter. Make sure that you submit your listener questions. You can also submit them on Anchor FM through our voice chat if you want to hear your voice. If you don't, like I said, hit us up on Twitter.
Yep.
Be happy to take them and give us something else to talk about. We'd be more than happy to see them.
Awesome. Well, I think that does it. So
Sounds good.
Yeah.
have a
See
good
you
week.
guys.
Thanks, everyone. Enjoy your round,